Why do you scream at me? Why do you think that it's free? It's not a choice made by me. Once you fall, soon you'll see. When I looked into your eyes, I can see we need to change our lives. Let me in, then we both win. But not knowing that you're killing me. This silence, this building, tearing me fearfully. This silence, this building, tearing me. I'm screaming. These walls have broken memories, but still hold all the history. One brick breaks, one cracked line, pieces crumble in my mind. But when I looked into your eyes, I could see we need to change our lives. So let me in, then we both win. But not knowing that you're killing me. This silence, this building, tearing me fearfully. This silence, this building, tearing me. I'm screaming. Holes in the walls, screaming at me. Holes in your walls, screaming at me. Holes in my walls, screaming at me. Holes in the walls, screaming at me.
Welcome to the Sunday Night hanging right here on Sundays. I'm Ben. We have the SPJ in the house. Decided to play the second verse because Sean was digging the track. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I was, man. I was digging. That was pretty rocking, man. I was like, wow, he's really letting this go long. But you know what? It's okay. It's not bad. I'll take it. I'll take it. What's going on, everybody? Did I distort the mics yet?
I used to be much angrier a few years ago.
Okay.
Clearly.
Well, you know, with age, we grow wiser and maybe a little bit more accepting of people. We grow a little bit more centered.
Well, let's just say we both can attest this from experience. We all go through our dropped tune Lester Pulphus phase.
Yes, of course.
Which is a great phase to go through in life. I'm just saying.
It's, as someone who has made much music with a drop tune Les Paul, despite what this looks like, yeah, that's kind of the bread and butter. Anything single cut and drop tune is kind of my bag, baby.
Yep.
I should write a book about that, actually.
Hence why as soon as I discovered you, I went, I like this guy. We've been there,
Awesome.
done that.
Awesome. I appreciate that.
Yes,
Yeah, it was good. I like that. What was that from?
That was an old band of mine, an album we recorded in 2016, 2015, 2016.
All
and,
right.
you know, with YouTube and copyright, just make an intro with music that when you left the band didn't sign over the copyright to, but they insisted it be copywritten. And so you did the paperwork.
Yeah.
So
All right.
I own the rights.
There you go. Yay, you. That's the music business. Welcome,
That's right.
everybody.
That's why it's called the music business.
Exactly. The music business.
Exactly. Wow, we got a bunch of folks in here. Hello to everybody. I'm just going to say, because everyone's saying hello, we already got 53 people in here.
Nice.
Yes. Apparently security's like, oh, someone else, 54. There we are. So, yeah, if you have a question for Sean or myself,
Nice.
@ sign with our names, question marks, stand out with a super chat.
Yes.
And of course, if you're new, please subscribe. And for those that aren't familiar with live chats, because they live under rocks, you know, the fellas with the wrenches, aka spanners, if you're from overseas, those are moderators. They moderate and put things like links in chats, like Terry did. All of
What up,
Sean's
Terry?
stuff.
What up, Terry? Good to see you. I see a lot of familiar names in the chat so far, and I appreciate Terry plugging the main website.
Yes.
Which we're gonna talk. We might get into some interesting things. I got some things to share tonight, people. I got some things to share tonight. I'm excited about it. I haven't told Ben beforehand, but a lot of stuff's been going on behind the scenes here in the Bat Cave where I'm getting real excited.
And I'm happy. Well, see, a fella can tell things were ramping up because I'm like, oh, new season. Sean's ramping up. Okay, you know. And thank you, David Pekarski, with a super chat. He just wanted to say, howdy all. Happy Sunday night. No question, just hello. Well, hello to you.
Well, I think that deserves a little. I think that deserves just a little bit something like there for that nice super chat for you. There you go.
Nice.
Little celebration music.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We already have a question in the chat. Actually, a couple of them. Scott Brockaway was asking, did you try the settings on the DoD 250 he had recommended? Which
the unfortunate reality of my life as a musician, Scott, I did see the comment, and it's an excellent suggestion. I don't have a Marshall to test it in front of, but I just did, for those that don't know, yesterday on Stompbox Saturday, episode 3 of season 10. We're in a milestone year. Was a look at 2 DoD pedals, one being the DoD 250, the other being the absolutely stellar Rubberneck analog delay.
Which folks who know about that get all hot and horny over it, and I was kind of always kind of thing, but then I watched your demo, Sean, and now I kind of want one, even though I don't run mono delay anymore, and I'm like, damn it, Sean.
No, I'm a longtime member of the cult of mono, having worked in a studio environment and also working in a like a live environment a lot. Stereo audio is cool, and usually, like, I just experimented with a stereo rig for a day playing at church a couple weeks back, and it was great for me. Like, I have my board for church plugged in right now, and the main delay on it is the Keeley Echoes, which is cool because I get that like nice flangey on the repeats. But if you run it in stereo and lapse it into the dotted eighth mode, it kind of does that halo thing with the quarter note pulse and the dotted eighth pulse. So I liked being able to hear that, and it was really cool because I did get an opportunity to play slide for one of the songs. It was very like rootsy Americana, so I got to really get in on my like bluesy, like Dwayne Allman-y kind of things going on, which I was all for.
Thankfully, times have changed because our parents' generation, you're playing the devil's music in church, Sean. But that's okay now.
Man, there's so much controversy on the devil's music everywhere. But I just loved having that in my ear to help fill out that space. But to get back to Scott's question, he was absolutely right in his suggestion that the 250 is an overdrive that just works so great with single coil pickups. If you got some really stale, like weak sounding single coils, the 250 is going to give you a lot of beef for your buck.
Which I love, by the way, when you're like, no, we're not even doing emo. We're doing Midwest single coil emo. And I'm like, yes.
Yes, exactly. I actually, many years ago, and I don't consider Tennessee to be part of the Midwest. I consider it to be part of the South personally. But I was working with some buddies, and they were playing a gig with this emo band from Nashville. And of course, both of them are rocking Telecasters. One's doing the Tele thin line thing with the humbuckers. The other's just the straight single coils. But man, just drop D, that Jennings Navigator, the 250 into the Hughes and Kettner Black Spirit 200. That was some crunch love right there.
It was
some real crunch love. But should I get a Marshall? That's the first thing I'm going to try. Strat, $250. I will do it, Scott. I will
like
do
it.
I will do
Mark
it.
Taft, good to see Brother Mark in here. He says, Ben, thanks so much for building my first pedal board. Much appreciated. Yes, Mark was over here yesterday, and we built him up a pedal board.
Excellent. What
Video
did you guys put on? Oh, you got a video on it. Okay. I'll wait. See, that's a good YouTuber right there. Friend comes over, needs some help, do a video about it.
Yeah. He's like, wait, you're not going to charge me for this? I'm like, no, I get to film it. That's my fee.
Do it for the content.
That's right. For the content. And Unfucking Believable was asking, what's your favorite preset on the Halo?
Ooh, man. I mean, there's really no other preset to go to than Andy's preset. It's perfect right out of the box. Like
number one.
It was seriously, it was my favorite pedal of 2022 for that exact reason. You get it, you power it up, you plug it in, you fire up that very first preset on Bank 1. That's Andy's sound. I spent hours with that sound before I even thought about messing with anything else. In fact, you know, Ben knows my wife, and a couple of the other guys who are here have met her as well. You know, she is sometimes harsher on the stuff I get than I am. Sure. And she came up and she was listening to it. She's like, wow, that sounds really good. And I'm like, I mean, I should know that it was going to sound good because it's from Robert and his team. But it was just, it led to some interesting conversations after that video about not only that pedal with Robert, but also what's coming next. And I can't share anything. It has nothing to do with me, but it's everything that they're doing to take that platform to the next level. Because I feel like with the Halo, it was so good. It's kind of the epitome of what they can do with that platform.
All right. And coming from a multifaceted background in the music business, I don't know about you, but that sounds more like studio outboard gear than a pedal.
Yeah. I mean, it's so well tuned.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Seriously, you don't have to do anything. And like, even I watched your thing with Tim Pierce back. I missed the live show, but I went back and watched that. I'll share the funny story I shared with you about a NAMM experience with Tim.
Speaking of Tim Pierce, he's back on tomorrow night.
Excellent.
So
excellent.
Yes.
Yeah, Tim's one of those. Tim was saying the same exact thing. Like there's the sound that I've been using for all these years, and now that it's in a pedal, it's an amazing thing.
And it's the only pedal that has presets that I've ever owned where I don't want to touch the presets. Yeah. I like them all. You know, because there's there's your Andy tone. There's two great slapbacks, which I quite often use, which is the ultimate irony. What are you running for a delay? Oh, Keeley Halo. Oh, what are you using for? Slapback.
Hey, that's what you do.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
It's got your quality 80s, just quarter note, eighth note.
Yeah.
Delay, but there is decay because it's analog, but because it's digital too, they can make it more digital sounding versus analog. And
there's no reason to mess with anything else. And if you do, it just makes it that more fun.
Yep.
But it's one of the things that I've had to think about a lot recently, especially with, I've been doing this now, demoing pedals for 10 years in this room for 10 years. It's hard to think.
Yep.
But I'm also trying to really hone in because I say market, and I'm sorry if I end up using businessy terms, but I'm just kind of in that mode of thinking. I'm just saying it for everybody watching. Like, but the reality of it is, like, this whole YouTube thing, this is what I do for a living. And the market has become so incredibly saturated with guys who just decide one day they're going to pick up their phone, they're going to pick up their guitar, and they're going to film a video on whatever it is that they have. And some people, like, that builds up quicker and quicker. You can only go so far with the demo platform because almost everybody that's done it does it either the same way, or there are people that have basically perfected their format and they're not going to change.
Yeah.
So what I've had to kind of go back and really hone in on as far as how I approach Stompbox Saturday these days is honing in on the creative and creation aspect of things. And, you know, I'm with you. Like, the presets are so good on the Halo. Why would you want to mess with them? I eventually messed with them because I felt like if I don't show you guys what you can do outside of just playing the presets, then you're not going to get the full experience.
And that's true.
But even still, it's like, that was a very intentional, like, I really want to emphasize that you can just sit on Andy's preset for hours and be happy. You really can. So rant over.
Yep. And you know, I enjoy your demos on stuff like that because I know you're a guy, like, I can count on you for fuzz demos, modulation demos, and I want to say time, but delay. That's reverb is kind of hard. That's, you know, because reverb is so personal. But
yeah,
like, say, fuzzes, delays, and you do modulation, which not everybody does too, which that makes me happy inside.
Thanks.
And you'll do, what's the best way? A condensed deep dive, if that makes sense. Because you compress an hours long demo into, you know, 25 minutes, we'll say, you know, and it's like, great.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm like, oh, okay, you know, because some people that do a longer demo, I'm finding I'm skipping through parts, you know, because they're going to play for 3 minutes, right? But like, oh, great. If I do that with you, I miss something. I can't do that because you actually edit. You know, like, literally the key to editing, I don't know about you, Sean, the key to editing is, as the viewer is about to reach for that mouse, you right there, you've moved on at that point, and they're like, perfect, you know, and that's the key to a nice, robust video. But also, okay, Unbelievable says I'm going to pick up my phone and start demoing pedals. Might as well. That's what I do.
You can. I'm not gonna fault you for it.
I went full circle. I was trying external mics, this, that, and I got back to nope, just my phone with no mic whatsoever, and just crank up a tube amp and have fun.
Well, it's there's a line.
For the haters.
There's a line in Shrek 3 that I really like. That it references a joke previously in the movie, but I still think it's a great line. Any idiot could hit a boat with a bottle. You know. It's like, right? And not to say that he's an idiot. That's not what I'm saying. But it's just like, anybody can do this. It's a total, like, this will be my absolute. Is somebody providing updates of the score of the World Baseball Classic in the comments?
I'm gonna assume yes.
Okay.
Maybe the U.S. just started a war with Cuba, and you're up 4-1 so far.
What do you know? Big surprise there. Speaking of US and Cuba, I'm about to go on a little tiny rant here. Like, I am absolute, like, this whole YouTube game, this is free market capitalism. And it is a lawless, outlaw, Wild West territory.
Yep.
And so, like, there is,
and you're competing with some big guns.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, okay, you know, I'm gonna demo this pedal, Sean. Well,
right.
I know you're out there, and I know you've raised the bar here. You know, Pete Thorne does demos, great. You know, but you know what? There is still the people that want, like, say, that basic, just that 3.5-minute video of a guy whose guitar is barely in tune, can barely play cowboy chords, but the heart was there and the passion, and he's, oh, this thing's awesome. This is why, and you're like, oh, okay,
yeah, exactly. And I've had so many guys, like, this happened a lot at last year's NAMM, where I'm getting in a ring of people, and we're all talking, we're all sharing whatever's about this stupid YouTube thing that we do.
Right.
And, you know, the conversation eventually leads towards things like, oh, how many subscribers do you have? How long have you been doing this? They come to me and it's like, how many subscribers do you have? I'm like, no, like 9,000 or something like this. How long have you been doing this? Like, almost 10 years. And like, wow, how do you not have this? How do you not have that? You know, I've just learned I really don't care anymore. I get a little sick of people bringing it up because it's like, I don't like to have that constant reminder, but I've just had to completely let go of that. Like, the metrics don't mean anything anymore.
I'm on the same metrics as you, buddy, because I'm like, I've been doing it, what, a little over 5 years, and I'm at 4,500. And that, like, I seem to be on that same pace that you are, because
Right.
5 years ago, you were roughly at the same spot. And, YouTube's like, what are you doing? Do you want to go live? Do you want to do videos? We don't know. I don't care. You don't have a way to market a guitar demo anyways, because what do you put it under? Is it under music? No, it's not really a music track. Like if you upload a song, is it educational? Yes, but it's not.
Yeah.
Is it entertaining? Entertainment? Yes.
It's one of those things where like the platform is wide open. It is a free market, but at the same time, YouTube doesn't want to say that they play favorites, but I think they do.
They do.
I can't say with full certainty of it. So that's why, I'm looking at other things. I'm looking at other platforms. I started a website of my own as a way to have a hub. I think a couple people mentioned my email list, which, that's a big part of me staying in touch with people. And I'm literally taking these videos that I put up on YouTube and I'm delivering them to people that subscribe to the email list to make sure that you said you wanted to see these things. I'm going to make sure that you see these things.
Yep. And I find, like, I get the email and that's a bookmark for me. Like you say, screw the algorithm, because say YouTube might promote it 5 refreshes on the homepage, we'll say,
Right.
But it's like, well, there's a live stream happening right now. I'm going into that. I'll check out Sean's video after. Perfect. But then, the 2-hour window goes by and they're like, oh, you didn't want to see it. Well, I was watching. But because I have the email sitting there, I'm like, oh, right. So I can actually search out, which actually kind of works in a way, because then it's like, oh, somebody's actually searching Sean's name. Oh, look at this.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Which is great, too, because then they all start promoting and it might be something I missed a year and a half ago.
Right.
I'm like, oh, sweet. All right. Click on that.
And the other thing to think about, too, now with the way that things are changing is there are starting to get to be alternative platforms. Whatever your feelings on them are is, a lot like Rumble is the big one that's doing a real advertising push right now through YouTube. I signed up. I'm going to try it out. I'm going to check it out just as like to see where that goes as far as like putting videos in a different spot where people can find them. That's a bit less of a crowded space.
Yep.
And just to see, if something happens there, cool. If nothing happens there, all right. I've been experimenting more with those YouTube shorts recently, which I'm blown away by the performance of it. But this is a long way of saying, like, I've basically just had to go back and to the drawing board a little bit and get back in touch with the thing that really makes these little boxes exist, and that's the use of them to create and make music. And that is, but you're not going to be able to create music if you don't know how to use it. You have to know something about it. You have to know how to use the tool in order to be able to do a job with it.
Right.
And if you're not gonna, everybody.
I don't know about you. I've taken like having a band. We've had bands. Who promotes your band? You. Until you get to the point where you don't really need to be promoted, and that's when someone offers to promote for you. Right.
Exactly.
And that's the way I see it. I'm just shameless about, if somebody say, hey, who do you have on? I have this person.
Right.
Cool. And it's just word of mouth. Word of mouth. Be active in the community. Put out your videos, and if people find them, great.
Yeah.
And if
I'm working to that 10K milestone, and I honestly, in my head and in my heart, I kind of feel like if once I reach that threshold, that's kind of where things might start picking up a little bit.
The next little echelon, as
exactly. Doesn't mean that I'm gonna just rest on the laurels after that. That's like, okay, I've hit that milestone. Now let's try to hit the ground running a little bit. And that's kind of the whole push.
The push for 5K this year.
Yeah.
I saw the bump with your channel when it hit 5K. Then YouTube decided, oh, Apparently, Sean wants to do this for a living. I swear that's what they do.
Yeah, well, I'd already been doing it for a living for a few years, you two. But what do you know? But yeah, it's like let's get these. Let's get to this milestone. Let's get this 10K. Let's get this 10K number going. Let's grow the email list. Let's make some videos, and there's other things that I'll talk about later that are going to be happening that I'll make sure that all you people know about.
Thank you, Charles, as well, putting links to Sean's stuff in here. Yeah, everyone should check out the sign up for the email list. Sean
you can
daily.
Yeah, you can actually do that at SeanPierceJohnson.com/email. That's like just a landing page where you can put your name, your email address, and that's it. You will get a confirmation after I have to manually put everybody in to my subscriber stuff. But yeah, like Ben said, I really only send emails on videos that I make. However, I do have a little email series that I take you through. If you're new to what I do and you don't know a whole lot about it, you just kind of see this thing, but it kind of gives you an idea of what I'm about, where you can find me, and some things that are going to be happening.
Nice. Randy Crooks was asking, ask Sean to discuss the guitar he was holding.
This guitar. The new hotness, as I said earlier.
Yes.
So this is the Vola Vosti KJM J2. These Japanese guitar companies have a thing for letters and numbers, do they not?
It's like a VIN code.
Yeah,
for your car.
It really is. So late in 2021 and early into 2022, I had there's two versions of this guitar. There's a matte white, and this is obviously matte black. So it's basically Vola's sort of telly style body shape, or single cut, if you want to think of it that way. And it's got some gold hardware, which looks really sharp with the black finish. It's kind of like the best qualities of, there's three guitars that come to mind when I think of this. First off, a thin line Tele Deluxe with the dual humbuckers. And of course, the traditional Telecaster control layouts, but of course, got a coil split and a 5-way selector because there's HSH configuration. So a thin line Tele Deluxe, a 335, and a gem, because it's got that gem pickup layout.
Right.
It's got a bolt-on roasted maple neck, locking Godot tuners, Godot bridge, 510 bridge, which is actually going to, after I film a proper video on this, is going to be getting a gold Vega trim installed in it, which I'm really excited about. Nice. I've had that Vega trim since summer of last year, but they accidentally sent me a gold one. And I had no guitar.
Excuse to find a guitar with gold hardware.
Exactly. And luckily for me, I have had a nice relationship with the cats at Vola, and I mentioned to them, like, I'd really like to get a guitar with some gold hardware. Could I maybe borrow one from you guys for a bit? And this actually, strangely enough, is considered a B stock instrument, or at least the very least it can be a demo model, because there are some flaws in the finishing which you couldn't tell at all.
Nor do we care about, really.
Yeah, seriously. And all it is it's just slightly rough in certain spots on the finishing. Little spot right here, a little spot right above the F hole, you can kind of hear it right there versus that. So, but apparently they can't sell it as new. And so through some talks, we're like, hey, we should, what if I had a guitar from you guys and I used it regularly in the rotation, just to kind of help with a little bit of exposure bucks So
yeah,
to
which
say.
because it's one thing to do a dedicated video, but if you can say, which is the great thing with guitars and amps as opposed to a pedal per se,
Right.
is we can have it like a reoccurring object throughout.
Yeah, it's a very it's a reoccurring character in the show, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Sassy Cat, Mark Dillon.
And seriously, like I've played so many Volas, and I think this is my favorite. And it just has a great vibe. It plays so well.
Mm-hmm.
It plays so well. It sounds really good. My only real gripe with it is that even when you split the humbuckers, the in-between positions with the middle single coil don't noise cancel. So it's a little bit of like it's not necessarily a deal breaker, but it's just something that I notice. But in the context of using it in a band, it's negligible.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't even bother me. And I've played it over the course of the had it for about a month. And I've used it so often that, I mean, it's definitely going to be in some future demos. That I know for sure. Joe Hervey did just say, what about a noise gate? The only problem with the noise gate is that'll hush up the noise when you're not playing. But while you're playing, there's still a little bit of that like going on. It's not, like I said, it's not terrible, but it's something to take into consideration.
What was that? Scott Brockway asked if either of us have tried a Sire. I have not.
No, I haven't. I played a Sire not recently, though. It was several years ago. It was before this whole like Marcus Miller, Larry Carlton thing where they're like, oh, hey, we have these guitars from these famous guys. Herp-a-derp. So, yeah. No, I haven't played one.
Kurt 5150 in the house.
Nice.
Quentin James. Quentin James. Oh dear Lord, you have Sean Pierce Johnson.
Son of a
You have Sean Pierce Johnson on. Oh, I love that kid. He's so
Are you getting all verklempt?
Jesus. Hey, it's Quentin James. See you later.
Oh, I love you, buddy.
Nothing like a Quentin flyby. You're extra special on this channel if you get a Quentin flyby. I'm just saying.
I guess I'm special. I don't know
it's
how.
Pretty much you and Aaron from Elvis. That's it. You know?
Oh wow,
that's pretty much it.
Suppose I should feel honored.
Yeah. Off top of my head, but then again, lifestyle choices. I don't have the best memory at times.
Well, I do not have that problem.
Well, it was when I was telling you about the trade for the Gretsch, when I threw in some pedals, the gentleman said, so tell me about this pedal. I'm like, I demoed it 3 years ago. I highly recommend you watch the demo because I knew much more about it 3 years ago when I last played it than I do now.
There you go. Yeah. Oh man, years ago when we were getting our musical instrument insurance together, the wife and I were going through all our stuff, and we got to the pedals. We got to 50, and she's like, I'm done counting. You have to do the rest of this. I hadn't really even considered how many I had, but nowadays it's like I'm very conscious of what I have.
Yeah. And
so like there's been a couple purges. There were a couple purges last year, and there's going to be maybe one or two more purges this year. But there's going to be some nicer purges that'll actually make my heart feel better, rather than just soullessly selling them for cash.
I traded in a bunch for gear last year.
Oh yeah, what'd you get for it?
Well, the stuff wasn't necessarily selling on the local level, so I just said, you know what? The Long and McQuaid, they offer 70% of used retail value on trade-in.
Wow.
So I said, okay. So I ended up with the VHT amp back here.
Nice. I see that.
And there's a hollow body Gretsch down below.
Excellent.
And there's a vintage Strat shaped object back there as well.
All right. Not bad.
Yeah, and
Not
half the
bad.
stuff was, from companies. They're like, here, make a demo. Okay, and payment is the product. Well, they got turned into amps and guitars.
Nice.
Yeah, great to see Kurt 5150 in here, one of the chief hosts over at the End of the Bus Network on Wednesdays, folks. Check them out. And of course, click, if you're not already subscribed to Sean's channel, click one of these links. You can leave and come back if you're on a mobile device, or open a new tab if you're on a computer or something. I don't know how it works exactly, but you should do it.
Yeah, you should. You should.
You really should.
There's going to be some things that you probably will want to pay attention to.
Yep.
Especially if you like getting free pedals.
I love getting free pedals. That's why I exist in life, I swear.
I like
free
getting
pedals,
free
yes,
pedals.
please.
Yeah.
And even you get to find out how to make a glary playable. Just saying.
Yeah, dude. Man, that video was so long overdue.
And
I should have.
I kind of like that guitar too. It was the sum of all of its things, because I'm not really a Mustang guy, because Mustangs usually have those weird slanty single coils, which I want no part of in life.
I got it right here. Let me grab it.
Yes. What's up, Corey's Garden? Guitar Man 45, George Bedar. I still have the Line 6 stuff, Joe.
Now I don't want to get it twisted. I can't take full credit for knowing how to fix this thing up. I gotta give Perfecto and I gotta give Phil McKnight some credit on this. But when I should have had this video done back in January. Should have had it done in February. Should have had it done, but I didn't. And a lot of that, and I even say it in the video, there was a bit of fear that went into it, because I just straight up didn't know how to fix guitars. I don't have tools. I don't have the knowledge of what to do. I have an idea, but I don't have the experience to it. So this was going to be the first thing that I ever sat down. I'm like, yo, I got to get this thing fixed. And I'm not, no offense to Glary, but I'm not taking a Glary to a tech.
Well, and let's be honest, at the retail price point, all right, if you want them to make sure the nut is the correct height, make sure everything is exact, that's another $50 minimum on the retail price. Minimum. Right.
Yeah.
Not to mention, it's got to be shipped halfway around the world. So even if you do the neck adjustment and all that, the neck's going to move during travel.
And the thing is, these Glaries, what I don't think a whole lot of people realize about them is that, first off, they're real stupid inexpensive. Like, this thing retails on their website for $120 right now, US. Yeah. And at that price, you are not, straight up, you are not going to get a perfect guitar. There's just no way that you're going to get a perfect guitar.
No, because for the cost of materials and to assemble it as quickly as possible,
right,
basically retails for $120 these days.
Right. And so, I just, not having that knowledge, not knowing even where to begin, I watched a couple of the videos specifically from Perfecto, from Phil McKnight, I have watched a few videos from the StuMac channel that really helped me. And again,
I got a few setup videos too. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he does, people. So I was really wanting to make sure that if I could do as little as possible with as little as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I went from this guitar, the G chord wouldn't even play in tune, or a D chord wouldn't even play in tune. And I mean, it plays pretty good. It actually makes me want to, like, I'm not adverse to playing it for, any and now I knocked it out of tune because I bent strings on it. And these strings literally, I filmed that video last Sunday. It went up on Thursday. So these strings are really only they're really only a week old. So bear with them a bit.
And Scott, yes, about an extra $50 retail, because you're not paying a retail price on a setup for each guitar at the factory. You got someone that's just boom making that hourly wage, just going through.
Right. Exactly.
Which I don't understand why they don't just make all guitar nuts lower, because they're always too high. They're always too high. Just by default.
That was the problem with this thing. I you know, and you guys can go watch the video. It's on the channel. It's one of the more recent videos that went up. But open chords wouldn't play in tune. You know, the higher frets were okay. Intonation
well,
was
when you mentioned the high nut, I'm watching it on video and I can see how high that nut is because it looked like it was set up for slide. You know? Like, was that a dobro nut? Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if I would have just kept it as a slide guitar, you know, I wouldn't have even needed to worry.
Yeah, it would have been perfect. Exactly. BC Rich says the higher nut and higher action helps to camouflage fret buzz. That's true too.
Yeah, it is true, but there's a fine line between high action to minimize fret buzz and high action due to just gross negligence.
Yeah.
Which somebody did mention recently. It was BC Rich. Like lately, Fender can only aspire to glary level quality, which is really a shame because when I got that Am Pro 2 Strat, that came out of the case playing great. The 75th anniversary Strat came out playing great. Even the Noventa Strat came out of their bags and their cases playing great. And now it's like, I actually, another player, friend of mine plays at the same church I play at. He got one of those gold foil Jazz Masters. And it's been so odd to see like people I know that have gotten these and they're talking about this really terrible experience with this particular guitar. It's so odd to me. Like,
unless Fender goes over the guitars before shipping them out to YouTubers, knowing that they got to be fully playable.
Well, I mean, if they stop doing that between the release of the American Pro 2 and the gold foil Jazz Master, that's only been 2 years, and that's not a good sign.
No.
That's not a good sign at all.
There have been a bunch of layoffs, so who knows? Maybe it is somewhat in the QC department.
Well, if it is, then maybe they just... I mean, I don't know how busy the custom shop these days is, but maybe they just need to start having some of these custom shop guys coming over and just giving the instruments the once over.
Pull the guitars out of a box, spend 10 minutes on each one. Boom, boom. Scott says they don't have any Japanese. The only Japanese Fenders you get now is just special run stuff, essentially.
It's a shame.
Which is,
Oh,
hey, there he is.
No! It's the Dirty Mark himself, the San Antonio Slugger, Gargart. What's up, buddy? What's up? Good.
That's right, Joe Hervey. Anything under $5,000 sucks. Sure.
I don't know about that.
No, I played some stuff that's that much or more that was
yeah.
Clearly wasn't set up for me. We'll just put it at that.
And some of them weren't even set up for anyone. Yeah. Just all kind.
I'm not saying one of the worst strats I've ever played was a custom shop strat.
Ugh, that's gotta hurt.
Yeah, I was just like, I just walked over to the store owner because he was so happy to start carrying custom shop stuff. I'm like, dude, you really need to set up that guitar. If someone's going to spend over $5,000 on a guitar, it needs to play and play well.
Yeah, exactly. $5,000 on a guitar that doesn't play well. No.
Yeah.
No.
But then again, half the people that buy those $5,000 custom shop strats are just hanging it on a wall as a conversation piece, anyways.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it doesn't need to play.
I guess so. Kind of going back through the chat here.
The Aerodynes do look pretty cool. Was that
yeah, I do remember those.
I've always been a fan of those.
Yeah, Those were very
Guitar
cool.
admirers, exactly, Scott. They're like, can I play it? No, I don't want you to scratch it. You're like, it's a journeyman replica. It's already scratched.
Interesting.
Which somebody paid an extra $1,000 for someone to beat up their guitar before buying it.
I like this from Billy Baloney. Hey Sean, I have a bad monkey. I'll trade you for that Vola. You may need to throw in a handful of pedals or an amp. Oh, I honestly love that bad monkey drama. I love it. I think it's hilarious. It just really goes to show you, like, it goes to show how stupid this whole YouTube influencer idea is. And sorry, guys, and I'm including myself in this. It just proves how stupid we are. I don't hate it. I don't care.
And it's it's funny how much people are making a deal of it. It's like, this isn't the first time this has happened.
No, it's not.
This is not the first time it's happened with Josh.
No, it's not. It's the Klon Centaur. That was before Josh. It's the Klon Centaur. It's the King of Tone. It's the this. It's the that. And now it's the bad monkey. I'm kind of like, I got my
RJ Ronquillo with his Rockman demo. All of a sudden, Rockman's doubled in price.
Right. Yeah.
Rockman's didn't need to double in price.
No, they didn't. And it's like, I got my Ibanez Session Man like a week or two before Josh did a video about his favorite Ibanez pedals. And so when I did my video on it, I just decided to title it one of Josh Scott's favorite Ibanez pedals. And I actually got crap from people about that. Like, oh, you're like trying to just bait people for clicks. And it's like, yeah, actually I am. Yeah.
That's actually YouTube recommends us putting a catchy thumbnail up and title as such just for that reason.
Yeah. And I actually was trying to bait people because, one of the things that Josh does that's really great is a lot of these videos that he does, it's about preservation of, and it's a historical account of where we were versus where we are now. And so I think that's what's great about it.
Mm-hmm.
What is bad about it is that just because he is able to make these historical accounts, it immediately makes people think that things that really were affordable and didn't have much perceived value, once somebody gives some credibility to it, all of a sudden it's like the perceived value goes up. Obviously, it's different with things like when you see the secondhand market for King of Tone pedals. The King of Tone is an expensive pedal in its own right because of the level of detail that Analog Mike goes into to make sure that those things sound the way that they do and live up to the reputation of them. And they're already expensive, number one. There's a scarcity to it, and some people don't want to get on the waiting list. I actually just the other day found my CC'd email to remind me how long I've been on the King of Tone waiting list. I am officially in year 3.
Yay.
So hopefully, because it seems like the waiting list has caught up to 2018 recently. So yeah, I'm hoping that maybe in 2 years I'll get a King of Tone. And even if I don't want it, I'll probably still buy it. Just to have it, because once they're gone, once he can't make them anymore, they're gone. And might as well stick around. It shall be an heirloom of my kingdom, though I buy it with great pain.
Look at it as an investment.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, geez, it's like, this is one of my big bone. And on the subject of another pedal that I mentioned, the Centaur, this is actually one of the bones of contention I have with Bill Finnegan, and why I really hate the statement on the KTR. Like, kindly remember the ridiculous hype that offends so many is not of my making. No, but he plays into it. Because what a lot of people don't realize is that Bill will still on and off make a new Centaur. But he gives it to a friend, and he's admitted this in a Premier Guitar interview, that he will give it to a friend of his who she I guess lost her husband and has 2 kids, or she has kids to support. But because Bill knows that Klon Centaurs command a good value on the secondhand market, he will give her these newly built Centaurs to sell on eBay that she can then, and he doesn't take a cut, which I have to admit is very admirable of him. But at the same time, it's like, don't tell me that this hype is not of your making, and don't tell me that you're like not playing into it. Like, you are a party to it because you continue to feed it. You keep giving the market hope that they might be able to grasp one day. If you're going to put out the Centaur as a pedal again, do it as the KTR. I don't care. Just stop pretending like you can't do it. I mean, what was that, 2017, 2018 at Summer NAMM, where he was debuting a prototype of a Klon clean boost, which was basically just the Centaur circuit without the gain side of the gain knob. How long does it take to make a clean boost pedal?
Yeah, considering you're already using a circuit that you're eliminating something.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that J Rocket has, I think they actually have a version of the Archer that they call the Archer Clean. Still has the 3-knob control layout, so it's not, like, it probably adds it's probably like how Vertex has the steel string clean drive. It adds a little bit of some sort of harmonic excitement to the sound to give the boost a little bit more life, and it's got that Klon signature EQ curve to it. But
what's up, Des? Great to see you.
mean, come on, don't.
BC Rich says we need Lawrence in the chat. I said to Lawrence in the chat the other day, I'm like, you should send an original Lost Dutchman to Josh, please, to do a demo on, because I have one and I'd like to sell it for several $100s and retire.
I did actually email Lawrence recently. We'll see if we can make something happen on the channel this year. I'd really like to do that. I did want, somebody brought something up. I wanted to, I'm not quite sure. Oh, it's unfreaking believable. There's a slight conversation about that company, about Vola. I don't know exactly what you've heard, but whatever you've heard, I would be interested to know what exactly you've heard.
I think just that they've had a buzz in the YouTube community for a number of years. Somebody mentioned, Steve from Boston loves them. That's true.
Yeah, he does. And he's like, I yet to hear about a YouTuber paying for one. Well, I will say that all the Volas that I've had up until this point have been loans, like actually as part of like
a lot of the loaner program.
Yeah.
Here's the way, Bill, Sean. You forward it to the next YouTuber.
Yeah, actually, that Oz, the 24 fret flat black one, Steve got from me.
Yep.
Because I had it. So yeah, we kind of pass those around because that's what they can afford.
Murray asks, hey folks, if when intonating a string is sharp, do I move the saddle towards the bridge or the neck? I think sharp.
Well,
towards the bridge. You need to lengthen it.
Yeah, if it's pulling.
Now, do not watch my video from 2 days ago regarding that, because I spent 15 minutes of a 20-minute video intonating one string, Sean, because half the time I was turning it one way and half the time I was turning it the other way, not realizing it. And I'm like, why won't this intonate? Why won't it move? Because it was literally boom, boom, boom.
And then you think like, oh, I need to do it quite a bit. And then you're like, whoa, I just pulled it wildly out of pitch.
That's the point. I got frustrated. So I'm like, 3 full turns. We'll see where this goes.
I kind of just what I do when I intonated, especially with the Glaries, I just had it plugged into a tuner, and so it's like, all right, open string is tune the open string. All right, now let's play that 12th fret. Okay, what's it doing? All right, let me get my screwdriver and let me just make those minute adjustments. And I'm just going based off of like looking at the tuner and seeing where the green bar is going. So some of them it may have been I put it closer to towards the neck, some closer towards the bridge. You know, it just
Done that too, Lee. He says turn the wrong string all the time too. Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, that too. Yeah,
I do that half time when I'm tuning up the pitch. I'm like, why isn't it going up? I'm like, oh, meanwhile you've already tuned the next string up to the string above it. You're like, ooh, okay, well that one's fully seated at this point.
Yeah, and then it's like if you need to make Joe Hervey says it right here, like flat to the nut, sharp to the bridge. So if like you need to, if the string at the 12th fret is out of tune and it's sharp, you need to shorten it and move it. You need to tune it flatter. Yeah. If it's flat, you need to move it longer. You need to tune it higher. So, yeah. And then RJ saying, just get a Floyd.
Yeah.
Which I did have one of those EVH Wolfgangs with the hardtail and the locking nut. That actually worked pretty well.
I have one of those. I got a hardtail Wolfgang, and I love it.
Yeah. There we go. Let's see.
Scott Brockway says Floyd intonation is easy with the right tool. Now that I have one, because Scott sent me one.
Yeah.
I did it without the tool.
What is the tool?
Basically, it will hold the saddle in place with. I can't remember if it goes over instead of the saddle screw. Well, I can't remember. Shows how often I set up a Floyd Rose. I don't.
There you go.
What's up, Cushman? Jimmy Ray Hawkins, James Hawking. Of course, BC Rich says I play a fretless bass. That's funny.
Jerk. I just use my hands to intonate.
Do you ever actually bother setting the intonation on a fretless bass? I don't know.
Well, I mean, you guys will still play harmonics on them, so I would actually think.
I would think so.
Yeah, I would think so. I think intonation on any fretted instrument, or even not, would still be valuable to at least make sure that.
Yes, you're playing the notes in the right spot.
Yeah, up and down the neck entirely. It has to play in tune. If it doesn't play in tune and you're not in tune with everybody else in the band, nobody's going to want to play with you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Billy Blooming says, what is this intonation you speak of? Can I do it with a pitch pipe? Possibly. I've never tried it with a pitch pipe. I would imagine so, because people were setting intonation on guitars long before we had tuners. So they had to do it somehow.
Joe Hervey asked this question: any modern metal that I like? What would you classify as modern metal? I guess that's one. That's a follow-up question I can ask.
Pretty much anybody that came out in this century is modern, in my opinion.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I've seen, like, I spent the last 4 years of the Vans Warped Tour. I spent a good amount of my summer on those tours, and they had by the time I was on there, they had a full-on metal stage, and it was guys like still guys like Every Time I Die, As I Lay Dying, a bunch of other guys. I actually got introduced to a couple pretty rad Christian metal bands through it. You wouldn't have thought, but yeah, there's one band called Gideon. They were heavy as heck, man.
Great name for a Christian metal band. Just saying.
Yeah. Silent Planet was another one. They're a little bit more progressive, like as far as their music goes, a little bit more technical. Yeah, they're pretty crazy. Actually a lot of fun. And yeah, I mean, metal isn't exactly my thing much anymore. I love heavy music. I love high gain. I love detuned instruments, and that, like, alternative metal is kind of a sound that I work towards, but I don't often listen to like newer metal stuff. Jimmy Ray is asking if Gojira counts. Like, yeah, I would say Gojira counts as modern metal. We got
I want to know from Joe Hervey, can I count Gizmachi? They released an album not so long ago.
People are bringing up Striper, which I assume is because of me bringing up Christian metal bands. I only just recently listened to Hell with the Devil for the first time. That is some crazy good 80s metal. Like, you can Striper, like people can feel how they want to feel, but you cannot deny how incredibly good they were and are still. Because it just sounds, it's perfect. Like
I will say I haven't heard a lot. I haven't heard a lot of Christian music per se, but generally when I have, it's some form of compromise. I'll say, yeah, they're pretty good, you know. But okay, I get it. But Striper, I was like, doesn't matter. Like they're good. They're good.
They're
you know,
good
regardless. So
they are good.
Yeah, whatever the message is, you know. And I don't judge. I don't care if you're a Christian band or a Satanist band. I don't care as long as you play in tune. You know, it's like.
Man, I'm completely missing some of these. Daryl B bringing up Mastodon. Like, yeah, I like Mastodon quite a bit. RJ's the younger generation think Ghost is a metal band. All I know is that I kind of swore off Ghost after demoing the Nameless Ghoul signature Hagstrom, and I have all these Ghost fans like, oh, he didn't play any Ghost riffs. And it's like, yeah, because I don't know any Ghost riffs. So please politely go your own way.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, I get it. Cause like I did a demo on like an Epiphone V and they're like, you didn't play any thrash on it. I was like, well, I'm sorry. But when I look at a Gibson or an Epiphone V, I'm thinking more like the Kings, you know, Freddie King and stuff like that. So
right.
I play blues on it. You know, same as when I did the demo of what the hell was it? Signature jazz guitar from Epiphone. George Pass.
Joe Pass. Sorry. And all the jazz had that video is not liked on YouTube, Sean. No.
Because I dare to play rockabilly on it. They're like, that's a jazz guitar. I'm like, it's a rockabilly machine. A lot more people playing rockabilly on these things than jazz.
I mean, at the end of the day, like the rockabilly guitar of choice is a Gresh, and those are really they're arch tops, people.
Yep.
So,
which, by the way, a Gretsch sounds great through the Marshall. Just saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Those.
And you don't even need an EBO, Sean. You don't need an EBO. It's just all the sustain.
It's all there for you.
Yeah.
There's my guitar teacher belonged to the Joe Pass cult. That's funny.
Is that Dwight Bailey?
I mean, hey, it's always good. It's always good to get into, you know, other styles. I love jazz. That's definitely something that I wish I was better at, is playing jazz.
Yeah, I can't play any of it myself.
But
although I'm infatuated by the chords.
Yeah, those big
scales.
The big complex voicings. The playing over changes thing is definitely something that's basically what I wish I was better at. Actually, funnily enough, I got to do a little interview video with Casper Jalili, the guy whose signature model this Vola is. And, you know, he's very good at that kind of like neo soul thing. And he can do the, you know, playing over changes. He's very good at it. And I was like, man, it's so interesting. Like, we both have this guitar and we're both playing it in these very, very different ways. But man, I wish I could play over changes like you do. So I'm probably going to be trying to make that happen as far as practicing goes in the next little bit.
The only way I know how to play over changes is when you play in a major pentatonic and you got to change scales every time someone changes a chord.
Oh boy. Yeah, it's slightly more complicated than that.
Yeah. And you're like, oh wait, I can use the same note for these two chords? Oh, a passing note. Ooh.
That's
how you sound like a real guitar player, Sean. You mentioned passing notes and double stops.
Exactly.
Those are I've noticed.
Passing notes, double stops, and triads.
Oh, yes.
You're a real player. Actually, you know, double stops and triads, that's the bread and butter when I'm playing in the worship context. I can literally not move on the neck for like 3 chords with 2 notes, and it's like, it still sounds pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I don't need to do anything else. I'll only do something else if they ask me to.
Right.
So
that's right, many sir. And modes. People still talk about modes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely do.
That's someone who knows their theory. They're like, what mode do you play in? You're like, I don't know, active? I don't know.
Yeah, that always when I was growing up, that was always something that confused me, going by scales and going by modes and then using them interchangeably. Yeah, the major scale is Ionian, the major scale is the Ionian mode. The minor scale is the Aeolian mode. And it's just like, can we just stick to one terminology? And then, of course, it's like, oh, it's the Mixolydian scale. And it's like, no, it's the Mixolydian
Yeah,
mode.
and I assume, I don't know, is it like science? Like people with weird last names invented these modes? Because I don't know. I can't even pronounce half the names. And yeah, just can we rename them to something modern even or something? Because it sounds like we're discussing violin in Italy in 1823 or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Italian in music theory. I know that. Oof.
There's nothing wrong with that, speaking as somebody who has that heritage.
We don't play. Nobody plays Italian music. That's the weird thing, right? I get it. Hey, we're talking Italian music. Perfect.
Got some.
And then Nashville's just like, we're just going to use numbers, and you figure it out based on what key you're in. Okay.
We're just going to use numbers. Here's the thing, boy. You got to know how you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Were you in the key of B or in the key of G? If you don't know, you can get out.
Yeah. Play a ninth. Hey, that sounds jazzy. No, we just want you to play the second an octave higher. Well, then just say that.
Well, actually, I end up finding that what's good about with that example, like the 2 and the 9, it is the octave. That's absolutely true. The great thing about thinking of it in the 9 perspective, though, is that implies a certain tonality of the chord. So,
yes.
I mean, I'll just go ahead and it's as simple as the Andy Summers chord. That's a 9 chord.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're thinking in terms of 2, it's like, that just whole step move doesn't really musically feel like there's anything for it. But if you add that as a suspension higher up in the chord voicing, then that gives you like a little bit more tension. It gives you a little bit more of an ethereal kind of feel to it. But at the same time, let's just do a little, let's do a little mini experiment lesson here. Go ahead and plug this guy in and just keep a clean tone.
See, you mentioned a ninth, and all the real players are now commenting in the chat. You see, it's a test.
All right. So if we go back to that 9 chord, sounds cool. I like it a lot. I use these chords a ton because they're a cool suspension. Cool little suspension, especially for like heavier rock. It actually is. So let's then think about this idea. Okay, our 2 from A is B. All right, so let's think about a 2 chord here. All right, so now there we go. Now we've got our 5th in there. There's our A, our B, and our E. There's a little bit of a different tonality to that. It's a little darker, and it has a feeling like it's a little bit more crowded. But if we do this, that continuous ascending of pitches, it gives a bit more of a unique timbre. It's like an interesting mix of darker, lower tones and that brighter high tone. But if you keep everything in the relatively same pitch, that could work in, say, if I went to a more, I think this. There we go. I got my chorus on now.
Perfect.
So if we took that same chord, this would be like a great, I don't know, Reeves Gabrels is retiring and I just got a gig with The Cure. You know, it's got like it's a different tonality, and it makes you want to go a different way with your playing and your orchestration.
Mhm.
Somebody really wants to hear the Jimmy chord. There you go.
Nice.
So it pays oftentimes, all that to say, it pays sometimes to think about your chords and your scale degrees in both fashions, thinking of it in terms of here's my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, but then thinking 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, because in jazz we have our ethereal, weird sounding 13 chords. Little Alan Holdsworth magic right there. So it pays to think of them in both lights, because the different voicings and the different, you have to almost think of the way that you're making a chord name. You have to think of it in a way of it's informing what exactly the music wants, where the music wants you to go. Am I going to be playing something that's more with a 2, or am I going to be emphasizing that 9 more? Yep. Am I emphasizing this, or am I emphasizing that? It pays to think about it both ways.
Exactly. On the other hand, if you want me to play an octave higher, just tell me to ace freely it.
There you go.
Scott Brockway says, I can't think about theory as I play.
Neither can I.
No.
Neither can
I've done that a few. I'm like, what did I just do? Because, yeah.
The foundation for like all that kind of stuff, like with the 9 chords and with the 2s and the 13s and this, that, and the other, it like starts as memory. And as you're sitting there with the sheet of music and things come up, like you're analyzing before you even get started playing. And once you start playing, it's like you're not going to be thinking about it so much as you're actually going to be hearing it. Like you'll know if you play something wrong. You'll know. Oh, trust me, you'll know.
Nice. Paint Namer says, I like Silver Sun pickups. Yep. Great band.
Never really listened to them.
It does go on automatic, Scott. That's true. Like, I know. Adding stuff. What's up, Keith? Nice. Hey, Fruitcake Tony, do I get a pass for being late? I suppose, as long as your laundry's done. I like Rick Beato, but when he teaches theory, it goes up and over me. Yeah, me too. It's okay. You're not alone.
Yeah, his sometimes his approach to music theory is far too complex for me to enjoy it. And I enjoy the theoretical concepts of music. It's the rules that you then know how to break, or you know how to bend.
Yeah.
But, especially like, oh, let me get my freeze pedal. Here's my super complex chord voicing. Oh, look at this. I'm doing some triplets over it. And it's like, okay. Super diatonic mastication scale. I don't know. I have the guitar grimoire too, so I know all these weird scales too. I just don't use them because you know what, guys and girls, if there are any girls watching right now,
It's always a
those
possibility.
scales do not pay the bills.
That's right.
Always.
See you, Sassy Cat.
See you later, Sassy. Good to see you, buddy. Take care.
Girl's like too complex for a laid back YouTube watch. Well, you know, kind of drop a little knowledge in on occasion.
Yeah, I mean, half the time when I do these things, I'm always dropping some knowledge. I really cannot anymore make content for the sake of just making stupid content. I just can't anymore. It has to serve some sort of purpose, and it has to give something to the people watching. If it doesn't, then I'm just not going to waste my time.
Exactly. I agree. Nice. Well, we'll go till the bottom of the hour here, folks. Got some great questions. Oh, he says talk about that Beato guy. Okay. He's like, you guys are cool. You guys, I got to clarify. Richard says, if you understand traditional Western harmony, it also sets you free. No, that's something else I got to learn now, Richard. Thanks for that.
Well, traditional Western harmony is just basically traditional Western music theory.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I mean,
that's why I'm at the point of where I almost need to take some lessons, just so, like, if you're giving me a lesson, Sean, I'm like, I play something like, what did I just do here? What? That's what I need to know. You know, oh, you're doing this in this mode and blah, blah, blah. Thank you.
Scott Brockaway is saying, I'm more interested in the Lydian dominant school of thought. Buddy, let me tell you about Lydian dominant. I remember the week in class when I was at GIT that we learned about Lydian dominant. You could not get all my classmates to stop with that until graduation. Oh, and you would have sworn the week that we learned melodic minor was like Jesus himself walked into class and said, here is the keys to heaven. Everybody for weeks afterward was just like, oh, dude, check out this thing I could do with melodic minor. And it's like, it doesn't sound good. You're just playing the scale over a chord, which is basically a passing chord. But okay, so do you know how to use it? Yeah. Do you know how to use it? No.
Exactly. BC Rich, did Sean learn how to survive a West Hollywood mugging while at GIT?
Well, GIT is not in West Hollywood, number one. It's on Hollywood Boulevard proper. Well, I'm going to I'm not going to answer that question. It's not my story to tell. I know very close personal relationship, dealt with things like that while as a student at Musicians Institute. It's not my story to tell, but I'm going to defer. I'm just going to decline to either have fun with that subject or answer it seriously.
There we go. Randy Crook says, thanks for the knowledge you dropped. Have a great evening. You too, Randy.
Awesome. And by the way, BC Rich, I just want you to say I'm not taking offense and I'm not upset. Like it is funny. I see you're trying to have some fun, but I just wanted to put it out there. Like I'm not gonna go there. That's all. But I hold no ill will towards you.
All I've learned about Hollywood is it gets stabbier certain hours of the day.
It's gotten worse.
Yeah.
Like it's really gotten worse. Since I was a student at MI, I can't go into Hollywood now. You know, and I'm a man in my 30s. You know, I shouldn't be afraid of Hollywood. And I'm not really afraid of Hollywood. It's just gotten to the point where it's so bad. My sister-in-law works down at Sunset and Gower. And she's saying the crime is getting really bad around there. And even when I was there, like there was still crime. There was, a homeless problem. But actually, it's a couple of years ago. I did a job for Orange Amps when they were launching that Glenn Hughes signature bass amp. We did the shoot for that at SIR in Hollywood on Sunset Boulevard. And it just so happened we wrapped up in enough time where nearby a family friend of ours owns the oldest Italian restaurant in Hollywood called Michelli's. It's one of my favorite restaurants to go to. The food is great. The Michelli family is always taking care of my family. Something real good. I wish I could get more people there, and I wish I could tell, and I want to tell them to go. If I want to tell them to go because I want to support that family business. But, you know, in the time that we drove from SIR on Sunset Boulevard to the Michelli's parking lot, which is on Las Palmas, I think. I mean, it wasn't more than a 5-minute drive, but we're passing homeless encampments were just really bad. And we're talking like 2021, I think was when that happened. And it was just really hard to look at, you know, this place that I had spent so much of my time in when I was younger. You know, there's still that like California dream that everybody has: come to Hollywood, make it, become famous. It's just really sad, just like how bad the problems have become. And like even walking into that restaurant, like my wife had to step over a homeless dude who was just laying in the sidewalk. So it's sad, you know. I don't really know what to do, and there's nothing that I know that I can do. But it's just a really sad thing because I loved my time at MI. I owe so much of my life of what I have now to the time that I spent there when I was out of high school. You know, I got in there, I was fresh faced, I was 18 years old, and I walked out of there just completely ready to make this thing work. And it's just it was such a great place, and it was such a fun time, and it was such a wonderful experience that I just unfortunately can't recommend to people anymore because the area has gotten so bad.
I hear you. We got quite the crowd in here. We still got 76 people watching. Please leave a thumbs up if you haven't already. Of course, subscribe if you're new. We're live every Sunday and Monday on the channel. Tomorrow night, Tim Pierce. You might have heard of him. Just saying.
Yeah, I might be popping in for that one.
Yeah.
Should I tell them my Tim Pierce story?
Let's tell them your Tim Pierce story.
Oh boy. So this let's see. This was now like 6 years ago. I was working for the pedal company New Neighbor Audio. I was an artist relations manager, and I was also a media guy, and I also did their NAMM demos. And we were it was the first NAMM show that they had done, and we had this really big product launch with the first version of the Immerse reverb pedal. And you know, they're bringing people over and whatnot, and who should walk up but somebody who I had been following for years, ever since I actually saw him at a little lecture that I had taken in while as a student at MI, but Mr. Pete Thorne. And I'm just all kinds of like, oh God, like, don't make me play guitar in front of Pete Thorne. Please don't make me play guitar in front of Pete Thorne. My coworker like knew how much I held Tim in a high regard, or held Pete in a high regard. And he pulls Pete over, and like Pete's just there. He's toying with the knobs, and I'm playing. He's like, man, you know, this sounds really good. I'm really impressed by this. You know who would really like this is Tim. He'd really be into something like this. I know he's around here somewhere. Pete Thorne goes off, and I'm still doing my thing. And then who should he bring walking up with him? And to this day, I keep this picture on my phone as a reminder of the pain that my coworker caused me because he convinced Pete and Tim to just hang out in front of the booth while I was just rattling through sounds and settings on the first immerse reverb pedal. So I had to play guitar for like 10 minutes in front of Pete Thorne and Tim Pierce. And like, while they're trying to have a conversation, but my job is to play. So I'm gonna play. And
here we go. Since I can go right up close to the camera, this is the hell.
There you go. That's the hell that I had to experience. There's me in my blue plaid shirt. There's Tim. There's Pete. Yeah. So I had to deal with that for like a good 10 minutes, and it was 10 of the most nerve-wracking minutes of my life. Because like I admire Pete and I admire the work that he does. I admire Tim and I admire his work. Like they've done the thing that I want to do. Mm-hmm. And I admire guys who do it with such professionalism. They do it with such class, and they do it in such a way that they still maintain a unique musical voice. It's like 3 factors that I always hope that I can, foster for myself. But that day, man, as soon as they left, I turned around and I'm just like, you jerk. You jerk. And of course, this was day 3 of NAMM. So I'm like, I'm 3 days deep of early morning, long day, exhibiting, yelling, talking, Surf B asking if I was sweating. I wasn't sweating because I was nervous. I was sweating because I started getting sick.
Mm-hmm.
It was painfully amazing. Just to like meet people that I admire and get a chance to just like show something off.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's like when you're playing in front of guys who are just like, oh my God, they're so much better than I am. They're just like, I hope I don't screw this up. And I've been fortunate enough in my time to be reasonably competent enough that I don't embarrass myself completely when I do these demo things at trade shows or on video.
I did it once and I'll never do it again. I did it as a bucket list there. Hey, you were there. Mm-hmm. And I was doing Lawrence's pedals. And the worst part is, like, that's the time. Just look at your feet and play. That's the best thing. Because if you start looking around, you're like, oh, crap. Like George Lynch is walking down the aisle. Great. I don't want to do this.
Yeah, I can't remember. I can't remember what year it was. And I can't remember where I was playing. But I just I don't even remember what I was playing. And I've tried to remember where exactly it was. But all of a sudden, like, here comes Adrian Ballou walking down the NAMM aisle, and then he stops right in front of the booth I'm playing at. He stands there for a good couple of minutes, and he's like, "Hey, man, that sounds pretty great." And I'm like,
"Okay,
thanks."
Yeah, it's
wow. And King Crimson, King Crimson for me is another like whoa.
Six Green Brian asks if I'm going to NAMM this year. I am not. I'm not this year. Maybe next year. We'll see. But definitely not this year.
NAMM is going to be...
Although I missed the hang. Because that's the only reason I go at this point. It's just to hang.
Yeah. I won't be doing content this year. It's all just seeing people, shaking hands, kiss a few babies maybe.
Yep.
But...
all right. You might kiss a pedal or two.
Yeah. Everybody's touching them though.
Oh, yeah.
There's always the risk of somebody going around licking things. And I don't want to touch things that people have licked.
I found there's a cure for that. You go right to the source and lick a German walking around that licks stuff.
I don't want to lick a German. I don't want to lick a German. I don't want to lick anything.
I'm not saying he tasted like bratwurst, but
no.
Could have been his cologne. I don't know.
I don't know. No one is actually. I've seen quite a few people who are going to NAMM, at least in my circle. You know, hey, I'm going.
I know a few people going, and I know a few people not going. So
How many people we got watching?
I didn't name anyone by name, Scott Brockaway.
Yeah, Scott did it. Scott named the name. We did not. He's great.
I just figure if someone's going to lick everything, I just go straight to the source and lick the source. Get immune. Get immune.
It's not even so much about that. I just don't like being licked.
No. Hey, Ivan.
How many people we got watching right now? I'm only on StreamYard, so I can't see your
Apparently
back
79.
end. Nice.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, which we should. Actually, wow, we've already hit an hour and a half. How did that happen?
I know. It's pretty crazy. Time flies.
Yeah.
Time really flies.
We'll wrap things up here, and we will not wait as long to do this again, and we'll definitely do it again. And if you haven't already, go over to Sean's website, sign up for the email list, because it's a wonderful thing to do. Subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Yes, please do. Which Terry so graciously put the links to the YouTube channel and the website, and I'll just reiterate. You can go to SeanPierceJohnson.com/email. That'll take you just to the email sign up. Once you're all signed up, just give me a day or two to put you in the system, and we'll get you started. One thing though, and this is one of the cool things that I wanted to save. And since we're wrapping up, I'll go ahead and drop this on y'all. I'm not entirely sure when it's going to begin. It's probably going to be at the beginning of April. So it's probably going to begin the first Saturday in April. But through the end of the year, I'll be running giveaways on the channel where I have officially confirmed with Sonic Cake Pedals. We're partnering to give away 2 3-pedal mini boards. One is gonna have the Sonic Cake Rude Mouse Rat Style Distortion, the 5th Dimension Modulation pedal, and the Sonic Ambience pedal, which is a delay and a reverb combo with tap tempo.
Awesome.
Then the second board is going to be the Phasey Cream, which is a big muff style fuzz, the Wave Crush, which is the bit crusher kind of lo-fi sound generator, and a Sonic Ambience. So one big rock and roll pedal board, one more alternative, fuzzy, gothy, shoegazy kind of mini board. I'm going to give it to 2 people. And here's how it happens. You go to if you sign up for the email list tonight, you won't have to worry about entering the giveaway when it starts. You won't even have to worry about entering the giveaway that comes after that or after that. You sign up for the email list tonight, tomorrow, whenever you watch this, you are entered for all the giveaways that I will do throughout the end of this year.
How awesome is that, folks?
So I got Sonic Cake is confirmed. I got few other companies that I'm talking to right now about getting some stuff. A lot of them are just like very like we'll see how it plays out. There might be some merch involved. There might be some other things involved. I might throw in stuff that I'm like, I was going to sell this, but you know what? I think I'm just going to take from my collection and I'm going to probably give it away at one point. Basically, all I'll say is this is a big year for me. It's been put on my heart after a lot of just like sitting with it. It should be obvious to everybody by now because I play in church, but I'm a Christian. It's been put on my heart that this year is a year to give back to everybody that has supported me and watched what I do, and also to the people that come to what I do now. And I've gotten a lot of great comments where it's like people are really responding to things that I did years ago. And so with that, and also seeing like there's a great potential for, economic times to be hard. And I want to do as much as I can to not only give back to the people that supported, but if there's a point at some point this year where things are getting real tight for people, I want to give some sort of bright spot to everyone. So if you guys sign up tonight, totally cool. Tomorrow, sign up, totally cool. I do want to say, because a lot of you are saying this is really cool, and I just want to say, like, I'm not the only person that does this kind of stuff, but I got inspired by it, seeing it done. I want to do it. Devin asking, you got to autograph it too. If you absolutely want an autograph, I absolutely would. It's totally up to you. But season 10 of Stompbox Saturday is all about celebrating the fact that I still get to do this after 10 years. It's how I make my living. It's how I support me and the wife. It's how I can give back to the people that have watched. It's about celebrating, like, we're still here. There's still cool stuff coming out. I think some of my friends that make more expensive stuff would be interested in joining. I'm not going to give any clues as to who that might be. I just know I've mentioned it. They've received the idea well, and I'm hoping that
You can't say it, but yeah, come on, Chase
Yeah.
Bliss.
I'm
Only
hoping-
because I know you have a relationship with them. I don't even know if that's the company, but hey, I want to see a Chase Bliss pedal in my life.
I absolutely would love if they wanted to be involved. Joel has been an out like I don't really know quite how to put it about Joel and Chase Bliss, other than, like, he's just an absolute sweetheart the first time I met him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's 100% like supported what I do. He's gone out of his way to, like, make sure that I can actually be a participant in what they do.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love for them to be on board. So many of the other brands that I do business with, I would love for them to be on board as well. Only time will tell, but I'm wanting to do something special. It's not just going to be another year of making just your straight up demo. So let's, because here's the thing too. And I guess this is kind of like a continued elevator pitch as it is.
Sure.
Like, for what I do, it's so stupid that I get to do this for a living. But at the same time, this is how I support and grow my life. I've made a lot of great friends. I've made a lot of great friends, contacts, and all these things that it's just like, I try not to lose sight of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so easy to do that when you're in it. And I feel like finding some way that I can give back to you guys. I can give back to even people that just sign up tomorrow or, in a week from now, if they're just discovering me. There's a way that I can give back to you other than just, making a video on a pedal that you really want. And then you're like, okay, I feel confident in spending my money on it. It's, it's something that I've wanted to do more of. And I think this is the best year to do it. It's a milestone year. So let's celebrate and let's have a good time.
Yeah.
And if things happen to turn a certain way in the world where people's dollar doesn't go as far as it should, then you know what? Let's make it so that you don't need to part with some of your hard-earned dollars.
There we are. Well, awesome time. Thanks everybody that tuned in tonight. We had quite the crowd here. And thanks to the mods for putting links to Sean's stuff. In case you haven't seen it already, go click, all that fun stuff. Thanks to anyone that contributed tonight. It always helps. Keeps the lights on and the silicon chips running. I don't know. Sure. Again, I'll be back tomorrow night with Tim Pierce. And we'll do more of the same, but with Tim's answers to the questions instead of Sean's.
Because who am I?
A friend. That's who you are. A friend.
Thanks for being a friend.
Yes. So thanks, everyone. And as always, hold those doors open. Let Sean in ahead of you in traffic. He's on his way to go do a demo or something. Who knows? We don't know. Maybe he's on tour. Who knows? We don't know. Just let him in. Be good to each other. Happy tone chasing. And, of course, don't litter. Don't litter.
Why do you scream at me? Why do you think that it's free? It's not a choice made by me. Once will fall